Hello. In 2014, we will commemorate the, we will remember the genocide in Rwanda. It's been 20 years. I don't want to say it's the 20th anniversary because there's nothing really to celebrate in this. And I still remember when this happened. I was living in Quebec City, and someone at the congregation where I worship in United Church in Quebec City, she was a student from Rwanda. And it was very difficult for us to understand what was really going on and the extent of what was really going on, at least for me, until I met that girl, came to us and said that everyone in her family was dead. Like everyone. Father, mother, brother, sister, uncles, cousins. And they were gone. And not a stupid accident. Like kill with machetes and guns in very awful ways. When I think of that, I also remember something I think that Simon Wiesenthal said after the famous chaser of Nazi after the Second World War. And something he said that when he'd been asked, said, well, after the war, said, why don't you go back to your former life and forget and go back? He was building houses or something like that. And he answered back, how can I building and houses when I do not know any more people who can live in them? I think that's the extent of a genocide. It's killing people based on race, based on religion, based on hatred, and killing everyone. Back to Rwanda, it's estimated that 20% of the population were killed in about 100 days. That's between 500,000 and a million people. They're men, they're women, they're children. Because sometimes we say, oh, those people. No, those people were human beings. And that's maybe the challenge. Sometimes we tend to think that, well, those things happen over there. Happen in Africa, in Cambodia with the killing fields, in the past, Armenia. But I think what we need to remember is it could happen here. And that's maybe the most scariest part of it. Because I believe that evil does exist in this world. And I'm not talking about the guy with the red suit and the big fork and the horns, but there's such thing as evil, pure evil. And also what we have learned from the Nazi and also for Rwanda is there's maybe a few individuals that are pure evil, and there are a lot of them that not necessarily evil. They're, we would call them fairly regular people that just following the orders. Just get into the group, and if the group going there, they will follow it regardless. And I think that's why we need to remember those events, those scars in the history of humankind, and not to forget, not to give some kind of cheap compassion, but to remember and to be truly scared that if we're not more careful about the way we talk about our next of kin, about our neighbor, about our enemies, these things will happen either here, next country, somewhere around the globe. But it will happen if we're not more careful as human beings. And maybe that's why It's so important to remember the creed. In a new creed in the United Church, we are called to resist evil. That too is a call to speak up, to denounce that kind of rhetoric, that kind of words that promote hatred, that promote discrimination, that promotes exclusion, that tend to put people in subhuman categories, that say they're not really like us. It's up to us to say no. This kind of speech is not acceptable. We are all human beings. Everyone is worthy. Every life is precious. Every existence deserves to be achieved to its fullness, regardless if it's our friend or our foe. If it's people that we totally agree with or people that we totally disagree with, regardless, everyone is precious. Have a great week. Please stand up. Please be courageous. Please resist evil.